Yang Ming travels across to teacher HuiqulingBinding the spirit drive system drive the spirit to become stronger. What kind of ghost does driving spirit increase yang energy? Can yang qi extract resentment and drive away negative energy? The precious yang energy is naturally reserved for the lovely Huazi classmates. Disgusting monsters are only worthy of dying under my soul-destroying left hand. Huazi. It feels so wonderful. The cold air that has been tormenting me has been replaced by warm energy. Qianmianji. I love the taste of teachers the most. Please help me dispel negative energy. Sadako. I won't go anywhere else anymore, I'll just stay by my teacher's side. Angry insect. Dead without a pitfall. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Rebirth, the leader of the Underworld. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tongzhou town bustling city cars come and go. A traffic accident occurred on the roadside, and a teacher saved a student who was playing on the road, but unfortunately was hit by a car. Yang Ming drifted silently in the air, looking at himself lying on the ground. That's right, he's currently in a state of soul. I only crossed over to this teacher yesterday. I haven't had a chance to gain a specific understanding of the world yet, so I only blended a little bit of my original memory and realized that I am a teacher at Tongzhou High School. On the way to work, I was hit by a car. This situation is a bit familiar. Yang Ming scratched his head, feeling that the scene was very familiar. It's too bad to just hang up on the first day of crossing, isn't it? Where is the golden finger? What about the system? Ghost detected, bind the spirit drive system, and the spirit drive can become stronger, gives a beginner function, with a natural spirit driving constitution and a 200% increase in self-yang energy, which can dispel negative energy from resentful spirits. The system has finally arrived, albeit late. Ghost. Are you talking about my current state? Yang Ming murmured to himself. The respondent is correct. A crisp voice came from above, and he quickly looked up. I saw a girl with long hair tied in a ponytail sitting on a floating or in the air. She has a beautiful face, vivid eyes, and is dressed in traditional kimono. Her delicate white feet are adorned with wooden clogs. Do you have a strong understanding ability? The girl continued, many people who die cannot accept the fact and cannot ascend to heaven, becoming ghosts or earth-bound spirits. Are you? Yang Ming increasingly felt that this scene was very familiar. I am a passerby from Huangquan, Peony. Peony explained, in layman's terms, it's probably equivalent to summoning a soul or a god of death. She took out a book from her arms and read it while reading, saying, Ang Ming, an intern teacher at Tongzhou High School, is honest and introverted, and theoretically does not exhibit impulsive behavior to save others. What does it mean? Yang Ming is puzzled. The meaning is that someone else should have saved their life, and you took their place. Yang Ming. What should we do then? The peony flipped through the book in her hand. Since this is an accident and you haven't committed any wrongdoing, I will make a decision on your own and let you turn the tide. She leaned over Yang Ming, sniffed it with her little nose, and said, You have a very pleasant smell on you, like sunlight. I will continue to follow you. We will meet later. After speaking, with a wave of his small hand, Yang Ming suddenly felt the sky and earth spinning around. His body on the ground emitted an invisible attraction, pulling his soul back to his body and returning to his original position. He opened his eyes, shook his head vigorously, and regained consciousness. It's great that you're okay. I'll take you to the hospital now. The driver who caused the accident was overjoyed to see Yang Ming wake up, but fortunately he didn't have to carry his life on his back. Yang Ming looked at himself and found that except for a slight headache, everything was fine. Just always feeling like something was missing. Oh no, I'm going to be late for school. Children, don't play ball on the road next time. He comforted the saved students. After finishing speaking, he ran away, leaving behind a driver with a bewildered face. "Hey, at least go to the hospital for a check-up." The driver chased after him for 2 steps, and in the blink of an eye, Yang Ming disappeared. "Why are you running so fast? Shouldn't it be okay then?" The driver comforted himself. Yang Ming ran back to school like a sprint of 100 meters, and managed to run into the school gate before the class bell rang. Tongsho Town High School. "Good morning, Teacher Yang Ming. It's rare to see you late for work." A beautiful teacher walked towards her, with a beautiful face, slender legs, a proud chest, soft long hair, and straight black hair. The relevant memories in Yang Ming's mind are automatically associated, and this high-beauty teacher is the object of his predecessor's pursuit. He is afraid of ghosts, has a cute personality, and is a bit natural and naive. He is currently in an ambiguous period. "Good morning, Teacher Ltsi." He spontaneously called out a greeting. "Are you free tonight? Let's go on a date to watch a movie and make sure you have an unforgettable night." Without any pause, this sentence almost automatically slipped out of her mouth, indicating that her predecessor was not teasing her less. "Damn it, I have to go to class now." Luz blushed slightly and turned around before leaving. Yang Ming looked at her slender figure and couldn't help but swallow his saliva. He didn't explicitly refuse. Was there a scene? Ding dong, the class bell rings. He woke up from his fantasies and hurriedly picked up the textbook from the teacher's office, running towards his own class. "Class 2 in 3 years, hello teacher." Seeing Yang Ming running into the teacher, the students all stood up and said hello. "Hello classmates, we are now starting roll call." He glanced around slightly and picked up the roster. Daoi Township. Arrive. Memories immediately connect. It's a cute 2-ponytailed beautiful girl with a hairstyle like a moon rabbit in a beautiful girl warrior. Hosokawa Meishu. Arrive. My best friend from the countryside, with spirited short hair, a proud figure, bulging in front of me, almost bursting buttons, hissing. Too foul, is this really the physique that universities can have? Nakajima Feiko. Arrive. A girl with a timid, steady, gentle, confused, and peaceful personality. Hino Hiroshi. Arrive. The new transfer student seems to be an athletic athlete, but it is rumored to be an irritable boy. Kikuchi is quiet. Before the other party could answer, the classroom door was suddenly forcefully pulled open. A Mediterranean hairstyle and slightly chubby teacher was panting anxiously and said, "Teacher Yang Ming, it's not good." "Teacher Yamada." Yang Ming asked, "What happened?" Yamada's face turned pale, and his lips trembled a few times as he said, Hanako has appeared again." Yang Ming's mind seemed to be pierced by something, and many memories flooded in instantly. Forehead. It seems like besides being a teacher, I am also working part-time at school as a spiritualist. Is he the only teacher in school who can communicate? This is the world of ghosts and monsters rampant, the teacher of hell. Chapter 2. Back to school, flowers in the toilet show up. You are listening at novel full.audio. Detected spirit removal task, dispelling resentment flower seeds, task success reward. Soul annihilation left hand, which can cause fatal damage to ghosts. Task failure. Yang energy reduced by 200%, physical fitness decreased by 80%, and resentment haunted the body. What is reducing yang energy and shortening lifespan? Yang Ming is not sure why. My predecessor was a high inspiration physique, and I was able to see things that others couldn't see from a young age, so I was often entangled with unclean things. Later, he was sent to a temple by his family and learned some basic spells, which could drive away weaker spirits. Angry Spirit Flower Child, also known as Ghost Doll Flower Child, was killed in the toilet during his lifetime. After death, he became very angry and often appeared in the school restroom. She usually appears in the third restroom, where she was murdered before her death. She asks the person next to her if they want a tissue, and if someone responds, she will be dragged into the restroom and drowned. Did it also appear in broad daylight? Yang Ming pinched his smooth chin and said, Teacher Yamada, take me over and take a look. Classmates, this class is for self-study. Okay. The students cheered. Yamada brought Yang Ming to the first-floor restroom. There are several teachers watching the excitement around the door. Takahashi Ryuko fainted on one side. Teacher Huazi was scared by Huazi and struggled to climb to the door before fainting. Yamada explained. Yang Ming glanced down at the slightly undulating mountains and the unfathomable cracks. Teacher Huazi is naturally afraid of ghosts, even a floating ghost fire can scare her enough. Is Teacher Huazi okay? It's okay, the school doctor has looked at it, but it's just too scared. He turned around to observe the toilet. The usual toilet was now pitch black, as if all the surrounding light had been drawn in. You guys stay here and let me take a look inside. Yang Ming explained that everyone who was watching the excitement nodded happily, jokingly saying, Ghost doll Huazi, who is not afraid. If you don't watch the excitement, will you still let me go in and drive spirits? Please, Teacher Yang Ming. Yang Ming nodded, took a deep breath, and bravely stepped into the toilet. In an instant, the surrounding light quickly dimmed, as if in the evening, there seemed to be another world inside. It was exceptionally quiet, and there was no noise coming in from outside. Even the teacher lying at the door watching the commotion was nowhere to be seen, leaving only an empty entrance. This is the largest toilet in the school, with 2 rows of 12 compartments in addition to the sink. The partition doors were all tightly closed, and it seemed that someone was whispering inside. When they wanted to listen carefully, their voice suddenly disappeared and they couldn't hear anything clearly. Yang Ming took out a string of Buddhist beads from his arms and recited the spirit-expelling mantra learned from the temple. The White-Clothed Guanyin Sutra. Nanwo Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Tantahi, Goluopoduo, Gahapoduo, Gapajuo, Garafchuo, and Saha. The sound of whispering in the compartment seemed to be startled, but suddenly stopped, and the surroundings fell silent. There was no sound at all, and Yang Ming could only hear his own pulsating heartbeat. I can't open it. I can't open it. I can't open it. A low moaning cry for help came from the compartment, sounding very penetrating, as if a dying person was using their last bit of strength to call for help. Classmate, where are you? I'm here to save you. Yang Ming tried to push open the compartment door, but it remained motionless as if it was locked inside. He pushed several compartments in a row, but it didn't open at all. Do you want a tissue? Suddenly someone spoke in their ear, as if they were holding on to their back. Who? He suddenly turned back, with nothing behind him. Do you want a tissue? The sound came from behind again. No, no, thank you. He politely refused 3 times and suddenly remembered the purpose of this trip. Basically, the complaining spirits remained mentally alert and could try to communicate. Huazi, do you have any unfulfilled wishes? Can you come out and talk about it? The compartment quieted down again. Next second. With a loud bang, all the toilet doors seemed to be kicked open from inside. A ghost wearing a red dress drifted out of the compartment and rushed towards Yang Ming as fast as lightning. Her face was pale, her expression was fierce, and her body was filled with resentment that turned into black smoke, wrapping around her whole body. She kept muttering. I can't open it. Yang Ming felt the Yin wind blowing in his face and hurriedly blocked himself with his right hand holding the Buddha pearl. Nanwa Guanyin Bodhisattva. The spirit of resentment collided head-on, and the Buddha pearl suddenly exploded. Yang Mingru was struck by lightning, and his whole body was knocked to the ground. Huazi pounced on Yang Ming, his entire black shadow resting on him, his sharp claws piercing into his arms, blood streaming out. He opened his mouth, revealing his sharp teeth, ready to bite. Are you going to die again? Yang Ming felt that his body temperature was constantly flowing out with the blood, and his body became colder and colder. He died 3 times in just 2 days, which in a sense can be considered a type of extraction. Detected the possession of a resentful spirit, activated the host's yang energy, and began to expel negative energy. The system suddenly pops up a prompt. Yang Ming felt a surge of hot and dry energy emanating from deep within his body, instantly spreading throughout his body. He felt that as long as he controlled the flower with his hands, he could use the new energy to dispel her resentment. However, her hands had already been pierced by her, and she couldn't move her upper body, watching her sharp teeth getting closer and closer. Fight it. He directed all the flowing yang energy of his body towards the still moving lower body and suddenly struck upwards. The flower's cracked mouth was streaming with sticky saliva, about to bite into the tender white neck in front of her, as if she had already smelled the fragrance of blood flowing through her thin skin. Suddenly, a hot and dry heat came from below, and even through clothing, one could feel the scorching heat above. The negative energy that had been entangled in one's body for years seemed to have been dissipated by the scorching heat. Huazi felt the cold and gloomy body rush into the long-lost warmth, feeling extremely comfortable, and she instantly froze. Chapter 3. Conquer the flower and activate the ghost space. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah. The spirit of resentment emitted a voice of pain or something unknown. Huazi only felt a blank mind. Originally, her spiritual intelligence was blinded by resentment and only knew how to kill and threaten others. Now, she was gradually driven away by inexplicable energy and regained a trace of clarity. The originally ferocious and terrifying face, with a hint of negative energy peeling off, gradually regained its student-like appearance. Although still lifeless, it had another kind of feminine beauty. Yang Ming saw the effect of Yang Qi and kicked her legs fiercely, injecting all the energy from her body into Huazi's body, helping her drive away her resentment. Extinguish. But. Accept. He cooperated with the spirit-driving spell, enduring the pain of the wound and not daring to stop his movements at all. I don't know how long it took, but under the continuous impact of yang energy, all the negative energy on Huazi's body was pulled out, and she transformed back into a high school student, floating in the air with a bewildered expression, as if she had not yet realized the changes she had brought. I only felt that my resentment had dissipated, and the teacher with thick eyebrows and big eyes in front of me looked very pleasing, making her unconsciously want to get closer. Congratulations to the host for successfully driving spirits, reward soul-killing left hand. Attacking ghosts and monsters can cause fatal damage. There is a 50% chance of one hit to death. Reward 200% Yang Qi, reward ghost space, which can earn the income of expelling negative energy spirits and summon them to battle at any time. Note that the resentful spirit needs to inject yang energy back into it every once in a while to prevent it from falling back down again. Yang Ming felt a surge of energy pouring into his left hand, and his inner realization rose. He knew that with his left hand alone, he could block the full force of the little resentful spirit like Huazi. He looked at the floating flowers in the air and tried to shout, "Flowers." Upon hearing the sound, Huazi's bewildered eyes regained focus and regained their radiance. She drifted towards Yang Ming, looking at the wound on his body with some guilt. Carefully approaching, he glanced at Yang Ming with concern and extended his small tongue to lick the wound. Yang Ming felt a faint fragrance rush into his arms, and the wound was icy and cool, with a slight itching sensation. "All right." He gently pushed open the flower and found that the wound on his shoulder had already formed a scar, showing a tendency to heal. Is her ability a cure? Why did Huazi come back again? Didn't she expel you before? Yang Ming recalled his previous memories and asked. Huazi shook her head innocently and said, "I don't know, it seems like someone is calling me in the dark. At that time, I was plagued by resentment, and whenever I saw someone come in, I wanted to drag her into the toilet and drown her. Does anyone practice summoning spirits? What is this for?" Yang Ming couldn't figure it out. How are you feeling now? Huazi smiled happily and said, I feel very good. I used to feel my head was heavy and my whole body was cold. Now my whole body is warm and comfortable, and I can still remember many happy things. She spun lightly in the air and then floated down to embrace Yang Ming's arm. Yang Ming has a warm and comfortable aura on his body, which makes me want to get closer and unwilling to leave. Yang Ming tried to ask, why don't you enter my space and stay? Huazi bit her index finger blankly and said with a silly and cute expression, what kind of space? How do we get in? Yang Ming communicated with the ghostly space in his mind and tried to collect the flowers. Huazi disappeared before her eyes with a swoosh, and then her joyful voice echoed in her heart. Wow, is this space? It's so beautiful, I really like it. The space is full of Yang Ming's scent. He couldn't help but wonder, what does it look like inside? A green and secluded grassland, with clear weather and flowers everywhere. Okay, I hope the grassland is just a grassland. He secretly roasted, knowing that only one thought could summon the flowers. Then you stay inside for now. If you want to relax, just let me know. Okay. Huazi happily answered that today is the happiest day after becoming a resentful spirit. The chill that made her restless was dispelled, and her body was filled with warm energy, covered in the scent of teacher Yang Ming. As the flower entered the space, the surrounding light returned to normal, and the door reappeared, with several teachers peeking outside. Teacher Yang Ming, have you successfully driven the spirit? Yamada saw the sudden appearance of Yang Ming and asked with concern. Seeing blood on his body and seeming to be injured, he wanted to go inside to check, but his legs were weak and he couldn't move his steps. Successfully dispelling the spirit, the flower will not appear again. Yang Ming waved his hand, indicating that he was okay, and walked out on his own, only to find that Lu Zi on the ground was nowhere to be found. How long has it been? Where is teacher Huazi? Yamada glanced at Yang Ming and found no obvious external injuries except for the damaged clothes. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, Teacher Huazi has already sent someone to the medical room to rest. It's already been a class, and after you entered, there wasn't a sound coming out. We were all extremely worried. It's okay, remove the warning sign, the toilet can be used normally. Okay, thank you very much. Yang Ming went to the changing room to change into a spare set of clothes, put on a white shirt, tied a tie. Xian Chang's robust figure paired with a sunny and handsome face, thick eyebrows and big eyes, making people unconsciously feel good when they look at him. Selling cans of soda at the vending machine, casually spreading them on chairs next to the playground, with no classes below, intending to be lazy secretly. He is recognized as a spirit driving expert by the school, and most people know that he has the ability to drive spirits. Teachers and students who pass by will greet each other in a friendly manner. Suddenly, a burst of arguments came from the football field. He turned around and found that it was a new transfer student in his own class, and Ryuko Hiroshi was arguing with Lin Ban. Chapter 4. Appearing, 99-legged worm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Damn teamwork, I'm better than you guys. Just pass the ball to me. Ryuko Hiroshi shouted at his teammate. His teammate looked unfriendly, cold-eyed, and unmoved. Hino Hiroshi noticed their disdainful gazes and his heart inexplicably ignited, almost uncontrollably shouting, You useless. You can't pass the ball even if you can't play it well. What's the use of asking you? Who the hell are you talking about? A group of tall and powerful football players instantly surrounded him in the middle. Hino Hiroshi showed no fear but was eager to want to fight. Come on. After speaking, he punched the leader first, and the other person's eyes suddenly became black. How amazing is playing football? Fuck him. The scene suddenly became chaotic, with more than a dozen people fighting in a melee. Surprisingly, Hiroshi Tachino did not fall behind any of the 10 or so people, and there seemed to be an invisible energy in his body that controlled his body. Always able to dodge attacks at critical moments and effectively counterattack. Yang Ming narrowed his eyes slightly and did not immediately stop the chaos. He noticed a hint of ominous spiritual power emanating from Ryuno Hiroshi's body. Is it another spirit of resentment? Nanwu Guanyin Bodhisattva, save lives, break. He silently recited the white-clothed Avalokitesvara Sutra, his eyes flickering with a spiritual light, and his vision became vastly different. I saw that the figure of Hino Hiroshi was not in the shape of a human, but rather in the shape of a long insect that was almost several tens of meters long. Behind him, it coiled up in a ball, constantly emitting waves of cold and evil energy. Detected resentment spirit, 99-legged insects, issue the spirit drive task, use Yang Qi to expel resentment, subdue resentment, increase spiritual power by 100%, and reduce Huazi's favorability by 50%, use the soul-killing left hand to give a fatal blow, eliminate the resentful spirit, increase Yang Qi by 100%, and reward 1 seed of the ghost tree. Yang Ming. Will using Yang energy to eliminate spirits also reduce the favorability of flower seeds? What's the use of using Yang energy to help a fool pull out its resentment and subdue a worm? The precious Yang energy is naturally reserved for the lovely Huazi classmates. Disgusting bugs are only worthy of dying under my left hand. It seems that the system will not actively detect the resentful spirits for me, and will only issue the spirit-driving task if it is discovered by itself. A worm with 90.9 legs. He pondered for a moment and searched his memory to find out what it was. This is a so-called anger worm, formed by the accumulated anger of humans, which likes to parasitize on babies. It is white and slender, resembling cotton thread, and can make people inexplicably angry and produce violent impulses. Such a big one is very rare. It seems that it has absorbed a lot of anger in order to grow to this scale. Speaking of which, it seems that Hino Hiroshi was a troubled teenager who transferred to school due to violent incidents. In the moment of contemplation, Hiroshi Reno even beat his teammates at the same level to the ground. Yang Ming was startled. He didn't expect his combat power to be so amazing under the increase of resentment spirit. He quickly ran over to stop it, and if it continued, he would lose his life. Xiao Guang. Stop it now. Yang Ming mentioned Li Yeguang, who had been riding on his opponent and beating his teammates the moment before. He was pulled by someone, and the anger in his eyes quietly disappeared, looking incredulously at his teammates who were howling everywhere. It's like this again, I didn't mean to. He was filled with self-blame and ran away with a frightened expression. Hey, don't run. Yang Ming reached out and didn't have time to stop him. Li Yeguang disappeared into the corner in a flash. Could you please help clean up your mess? He looked down at the ground helplessly and could only invite his classmates who were watching the excitement from afar to come over and help them to the medical room together. Although they all flattened into pig heads, fortunately they didn't cause any muscle or bone damage. But this incident caused a huge uproar in the sports department, and when the principal learned about it, he resolutely wanted to expel Hiroki Reno from the football team. Yang Ming knows he loves football, but his emotions are influenced by the anger bug. It feeds on human anger, and the more he eats, the stronger it becomes. Principal's office. Principal, Hiroshi Reno was just possessed by a spirit of resentment, not intentionally harming his classmates. The principal shook his head and said, he can't stay in other schools because of violent incidents. Even if I transfer to this school, I will never change. If it continues like this, not only playing football, but also going to school will become a problem. Sooner or later, I will be suspended from school. Yang Ming scratched his head and said, give him another chance, I will make him change. The principal glanced at him and said, I hope what you're saying is true, and I don't want such students to appear in the school either. Yang Ming nodded and said, I will prove it to you. Okay. He bid farewell to the principal and returned to his own class, hoping to discuss the spiritual drive with Hiroshi Reno, but after scanning around, he did not find his presence. Where is Ryuno Hiroshi? I don't know, classmates answered one after another, and they were also a bit afraid of the capricious Ryo Hiroshi, who looked like a delinquent teenager. I haven't finished school yet, I should still be at school. Let's look around. Teacher, I'll look for it with you. I have a rough idea where he is. The villager ran over with slender legs and small steps, swaying his ponytails. Okay. She likes to argue with Hiroshi Rino, and they get better the next day. They probably already have a good impression of each other, but they just refuse to admit it. Knowing about his fight naturally made me very worried. This is the green and astringent love. It's great to be young. Young Ming sighed slightly and followed the villagers to search in the school. On the road, it was revealed that Ryuno Hiroshi was possessed by a vengeful spirit. The villager's worried expression increased a bit, and he pulled Yang Ming to run quickly. Chapter 5. Appearance, Growth Form, Demon Heart. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xiangzi ran to the sports equipment room with Yang Ming. With full confidence, he said, every time Xiaoguang is unhappy, he would run to the equipment room to daydream. He should be there now. As expected, before the two of them could get close, they could hear the sound of ping-pong from a distance, as if someone was smashing something. They approached quietly, only to see Hino Hiroshi throwing a mop everywhere, venting his inexplicable anger. Damn it, even though I have tried my best to control my emotions, why do I always forget everything when I get excited? Ryuno Hiroshi felt extremely guilty and simply let his emotions run wild, causing destruction in the equipment room. While smashing, shouting. Anyway, as a problematic student like me, what achievements will there be? In the future, I will definitely be unable to resist committing crimes and being imprisoned for a lifetime. Seeing the unusual appearance of Hino Hiroshi, the villager became even more resolute in his teacher's statement. He couldn't help but show his figure and timidly stood up, shouting with a worried expression. Xiao Guang. Yang Ming followed behind and said, I won't let you become like that. Hino Hiroshi stopped his hand movements when he saw the two of them, his eyes turning red, and he said, Why did you come? Sorry, we're only dealing with it now. Your uncontrollable emotions are due to being possessed by evil spirits. It's because of it that you can't control your emotions. Yang Ming's eyes were burning as he stared at the shadow beneath him, faintly sensing the evil hovering within the black shadow. What a joke, what possessed by evil spirits, don't deceive me. Hino Hiroshi looked incredulous, feeling that the teacher was just casually finding an excuse to perfunctory him. The villager saw his beloved teacher being questioned and said displeased, It's true. Didn't I tell you when I first arrived? Teacher Yang Ming is the only person in our school who can drive spirits. You shut up. Hino Hiroshi became nameless and his mind went blank, only wanting to vent his anger. Xiangzi was angrily shouted at by him, clearly startled. The irritable classmates in front of her made her feel unfamiliar and terrifying. Her eyes instantly moistened, and she instinctively approached the teacher, seeking a sense of security. What the villagers said is true. Yang Ming saw that he seemed to have signs of losing control and had to provide proof. Soul-destroying left hand. He activated his skills, and an even more evil aura suddenly emerged, tightly wrapping his left hand and transforming into a ferocious claw. Eliminating evil can be even more evil. Ryuno Hiroshi was suddenly awakened by the een cold on the ghost claw. Seeing the strong claws emitting black smoke, he had already believed 90% in his heart. Looking at the tearful appearance of the villager again, I couldn't help but blame myself again, feeling that it seemed like a terrible mistake. I shouldn't yell at her like this, as it would make me regret it. How about you believe me once? Anyway, you don't have any losses either. Yang Ming smiled and tried to be gentle in his tone to avoid irritating the angry insects on his body. Okay. The three of them arrived at the miscellaneous room. Apart from a thorough cleaning, there were very few people coming here to avoid injuring outsiders to the greatest extent possible. Hino Hiroshi hung his head and followed behind with a dejected expression. I still can't believe it, I'm possessed by evil spirits. The villager immediately said firmly, I believe in the teacher. It's okay, young Ming said with a smile, the most important thing is to have a spirit of not giving up. No matter what happens, you must never panic and panic. Be steadfast in your heart, even evil spirits will fear you to some extent. He made two students sit cross-legged on the empty ground, their eyes becoming serious. We're going to start. Communicate well with Huazi in your heart, and use her healing ability in case someone gets injured. My healing ability can only treat young Ming. Other people cannot bear my yin energy and may get injured instead. Huazi said crisply. Is it because of binding the ghost space? It seems that we can only try our best to resist later and cannot let the students get hurt. Yang Ming murmured and chanted the spirit-dispelling mantra, Amitabha Buddha in the south, great compassion, saving lives, Avalokitesvara in white. The evil spirit attached to Ryuko Hiroshi's body quickly reveals its true form. Hino Hiroshi suddenly felt an unbearable itching in the palm of his right hand, and something wanted to crawl out there. Looking down, a sticky worm arched out of the palm, constantly wriggling outward. Teacher. He witnessed this strange phenomenon with his own eyes and only then began to fear, unable to resist calling out to the teacher loudly. Yang Ming glanced over with sharp eyes and whispered, Evil spirit, reveal your true form. The insect was like an inflatable, rising at the sight of the wind. It continuously sprayed out from the palm of Hiroshi Ticino and turned into a long insect that was several tens of meters long, winding and circling in the air, covered in sticky white tentacles. He widened his eyes in disbelief and said, Inside my body, there actually resides this terrifying monster. Zhongyao, the growth form of the 90.9-legged worm. Yang Ming protected the two students behind him and looked up at the monster in front of him. Just the front section of the Zhongyao was even larger than the three of them combined. I don't know if the left hand produced by the system can handle it, otherwise with the shallow ability of its predecessor to eliminate spirits, it is estimated that it will be difficult to carry on. The head of the Zhongyao cracked open with a huge crack, inside which there were 8 large eyeballs, bulging their sockets. Below was a big mouth full of sharp teeth. He, who called me out? Who is so bold? Zhongyao spoke with a gloomy tone, and a huge black shadow enveloped all three of them. Chapter 6. Successful Spirit Drive, Ghost Tree Roots. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Spiritually capable, Yang Ming, the teacher of Hino Hiroshi. I command you to leave Xiaoguang immediately and return to the underworld obediently. Yang Mingi spoke confidently. The 8 eyes of Zhongyao were all focused on him, and his cracked mouth kept flowing with foul mouth watering. He, what a joke, who wants to go back to that place? I feel extremely comfortable living on him and can also absorb endless anger. Yang Ming raised his left hand wrapped in evil energy and said, Persuasion is ineffective, so we can only use force to drive away the spirit. Zhongyao seemed to hear some joke and chuckled incessantly, eliminating spirits. With just you, a clown. Out of measure. The thick tail of the Zhongyao bucket swung fiercely towards Yang Ming. You can't hide. There are 2 students behind me, and if we dodge, we will definitely hurt them. Hard resistance. He raised his left hand to protect his head and forcefully took over the tail of Zhongyao. His arms suddenly became flesh and blood blurred, and his body was forced back and forth by tremendous force. Teacher. The students shouted out in fear. Don't come over, I'm fine, it's just a scratch. Just now, Ghost Claw took the opportunity to counterattack and scratched a deep wound on Zhongyao's body. It's possible. Huazi's ability leaked out of the ghost space, and the wound on her arm suddenly became sour and itchy, beginning to heal. Little insect demon, how dare you harm teacher Yang Ming? The teacher let me out and let me teach it a lesson. Huazi saw the teacher injured and felt heartbroken. She shouted in the ghost space, ready to come out and tear off the demon. Yang Ming quickly comforted Huazi. If two vengeful spirits appeared at the same time, one of them was still a city legend passed down by word of mouth, and he was afraid that the two students would not be able to accept it. The injured Zhongyao completely aroused its ferocity. Out of measure. How dare you harm my body? Let me show you my power after absorbing endless anger. Great power. The body of Zhongyao unexpectedly expanded once again, and the overflowing evil energy shot everywhere, shattering the glass and causing cracks on the walls and floors. Old teacher. The villager was extremely panicked and plunged into Yang Ming's arms. Ryuko Hiroshi was still struggling, but his trembling legs betrayed him, not as calm as he appeared on the surface. Ha ha ha, look at my destructive power. I am the strongest. Let's start the massacre like this, starting from this school. You will all become my food. Zhongyao grinned fiercely and opened his bloody mouth without restraint. Run away, we can't win. Call the police, no, call the army, call the troops. The two students had a fearful expression on their faces and were already flustered and incoherent. If we retreat at this time, the school will definitely suffer severe damage. Cannot be refunded. Yang Ming remained steadfast in his heart, his yang energy flowing from his body, driving away the invading evil energy and gradually emerging with strength. Ah, the teacher's taste. It's so comfortable. Huazi felt the yang energy on his body and remembered the satisfaction of being filled with yang energy, wishing to immediately crawl out of the ghost space. Yang Ming pulled two students behind him, step back. I'll knock it down. He felt the energy surging out of his body, full of confidence. Nanwu is merciful and saves lives, inspired by the white-clothed Avalokitesvara. Yang Ming silently recited a mantra, and his yang energy instantly transformed into spiritual power. The energy gradually increased, and his momentum became exceptionally fierce. It's just a futile struggle. Any energy is useless until I am completely respectable. Zhongyao let out a loud shout, stretched out her body, opened her big mouth, and then bit towards Yang Ming. Soul-destroying left hand. The white-clothed Guanyin Sutra. 300% increase in Yang Qi. Yang Ming was wrapped in spiritual energy all over his body, transforming into a huge claw that fiercely grabbed the head of the demon. The evil energy of Ghost Claw is unstoppable, tearing open the demon's head like a battered watermelon. Its 8 eyeballs are blasted open, leaving white mucus all around. Yang Ming grabbed to the end and penetrated the entire Zhongyao. Zhongyao let out an unwilling roar, and her whole body exploded, turning into a faint black mist and dissipating in the air. Successfully driven spirit. The 99-legged insect has been eliminated. Yang Qi increased by 100%, reward ghost tree seed X1, a fluorescent white seed quietly took root in the ghostly space, and soon sprouted, breaking through the soil and growing into a 1-meter-tall emerald green tree. Huazi curiously circled around the sudden appearance of the ghost tree, where the power of the soul floated. She could feel the constant enhancement of her spiritual power, and even if she was injured, she could constantly repair it. Although the power of the tree is still weak, it will definitely continue to grow in the future. Teacher. Is this the true power of a teacher? The two villagers looked at Yang Ming with admiration on their faces. Please, who teacher can have such handsome abilities? Okay, secure your thighs. Yang Ming patted Hino Hiroshi and said, the evil spirit has been successfully dispelled, so there's no need to worry about you losing control of your emotions inexplicably. Hino Hiroshi nodded vigorously, his obedient appearance, there was no trace of a delinquent youth. Follow me to the principal's office, eliminate the evil spirits, and you don't have to be expelled from the football team. Yang Ming knows that this child loves playing football and cannot lose this interest for no reason. Principal's office. Yang Ming patted the principal's chest and promised, the evil spirit on Xiaoguang has been eliminated. He won't lose his temper anymore. How about letting him join the football team? The principal said with a helpless expression, "It's hard to believe that you're saying it, but it's still hard to believe it all at once." "Then I'll prove it to you," Yang Ming chuckled after speaking. He looked at Hino Hiroshi with a smile on his face. Hino Hiroshi felt a chill on his back, and there seemed to be some hidden meaning in the teacher's smile. Chapter 7. Date Failure and Fear of Ghosts, Teacher Ryuko. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yang Ming smiled and brought Hino Hiroshi to the football team. That's right, those who were beaten up by him. Xiao Guang was possessed by a resentful spirit before, which is why he couldn't control his temper. I'm very sorry for causing trouble for everyone. The evil spirit on him has been eliminated now. I won't get angry casually anymore. Now Xiao Guang, everyone can handle it as they please. He turned around and said to Yi Guang, "Come on, prove yourself." The team member with bandages still wrapped around his body approached Hino Hiroshi, continuously moving hands and feet, as if warming up. "Thank you very much for your care last time. I will express my gratitude to you seriously today. No matter how we fix him, he won't get angry, will he?" Yang Ming immediately nodded and said, "Yes, just let go and do it." The villager was also by his side, with his hands shaped like horns, shouting, "Come on." Standing in the same spot, Ryuno Hiroshi Zhanka only saw countless fists flying towards him, instantly covered in bags. The principal stood on the side and watched. "Oh no, I'm not angry about this. It seems that the evil spirits have really been expelled completely." Yang Ming said, "What about the football team? What else is not allowed?" "Great, we've solved one more thing." He watched with satisfaction as Hiroshi Rino returned to the football team to start training, wearing a full head bag. "After struggling until school was over, I experienced a car accident in just one day and almost passed away in the same place. I have completed 2 spiritual drives at school and am almost exhausted. It seems that this world is not safe, and I need to find ways to increase my strength." A beautiful figure suddenly burst into my field of vision. Teacher Huazi. Yang Ming couldn't help but say hello. His predecessor was very obsessed with Teacher Huazi, and the lingering obsession could even affect his subconscious. But he also has a very good impression of Teacher Huazi, who doesn't like his fair skin, beautiful appearance, and proud figure of black and straight. "Are you okay?" "I fainted in the morning." Luz covered his chest with both hands and said with lingering palpitations, "I almost scared to death this morning. I've been afraid of these since I was young, but fortunately, Teacher Ming is here." Yang Ming circled around Luz and said, "I can easily get rid of the little resentment, but..." "But what?" "Teacher Huazi seems to have some residual spiritual power on him. Why don't we go out for dinner tonight and chat while eating?" Luz quickly nodded with a fearful expression on his face and said, okay, where are we going?" "It's natural to find a romantic restaurant, eat and drink enough, and then find a hotel to delve deeper into the ritual of removing spirits." Just as I thought about it beautifully, my body instinctively said, "Of course, it's going to a restaurant with a cemetery theme to enjoy delicious food." Then, while watching the brilliant performance of the ghost fire, I listened to a pair of lovers who died in love, whispering their beautiful feelings. After Yang Ming finished speaking, he was taken aback. The above few words were spoken almost without pause. What kind of obsession did his predecessor have towards the resentful spirit? His soul was weak, and he deserved to be single. I told you earlier that I'm most afraid of these things, and I'm still saying that I hate people like you the most. As expected, Luz heard his face turn increasingly pale, and finally let out a scream, knocking Yang Ming to the ground and running out of the school gate in a panic. TSK, even the back of the fleeing figure is so graceful and charming. Yang Ming struggled to get up and patted away the dust from his body. My predecessor was always dealing with vengeful spirits in his daily life, so it's normal to have obsession with these things. After merging, it's better to adapt slowly. After all, it's only the second day now. He clenched his fist secretly. Let me drive away the resentment of teacher Huazi. Yang Ming followed his memory and returned to his residence. An old apartment with a unique smell of old houses floating in the air, like wood soaked in rainwater, not to mention unpleasant. The room is organized in an orderly manner. It seems that my predecessor was still a person who loved cleanliness. In addition to textbooks, there are also a few Buddhist beads and a scripture in the desk drawer. The white-clothed Guanyin Sutra can be used to trap resentful spirits and subdue less powerful ones. I didn't get used to it in the morning and rushed to school. If I bring this scripture with me today, I should be able to increase my combat power a bit. Yang Ming climbed onto the bed and spread it out, feeling that his bones were about to fall apart. I don't know how Huazi is doing. He communicated with the ghost space, and the flower appeared out of thin air in the room. Floating in the air, his little head spinning around curiously, looking around. A slim figure, wearing a deep red camisole dress, wearing a white shirt on the upper body, with shoulder-length short hair, hair fixed with headbands, and also a deep red color. Her delicate face, with a pair of big watery eyes that flickered and flickered, showed no trace of the morning's ferocity, resembling a youthful college student. Teacher Ming. Huazi threw herself into Yang Ming's arms, less than 1.6 meters tall, making her look like a small bird. The yang energy on Yang Ming's body can expel the piercing cold, making her feel exceptionally comfortable and warm. Detected resentment spirit flower seed, is it replenished with yang energy? Note that supplementing yang energy can prevent resentful spirits from falling back. Chapter 8. Supplementing yang qi, lesser development. Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What are you waiting for? As a member of the masses, it is natural to maintain world stability and social peace. Of course, we cannot let the lovely Huazi classmates become unconscious again, only killing vengeful spirits. Supplement yang qi. Yang Ming's body once again surged with hot and dry yang energy, automatically moving along the body's meridians. Huazi felt a noticeable change in the teacher's body, and her body temperature gradually rose, constantly wafting with a pleasant smell. She hugged the teacher with mesmerized eyes and a joyful expression. I want to immerse myself in the arms of the teacher. It's this kind of feeling, so comfortable, the last bit of coldness has been expelled completely. Yang Ming's energy was getting stronger and stronger, and the scorching yang energy made him restless and restless. The surging energy is constantly surging inside the body, almost breaking out. Suddenly, a refreshing sensation came from my arms. Is Huazi's resentment? Yang energy seems to have found its outlet and suddenly rushes towards the cold and gloomy place. He felt the energy enter a place where yin qi was extremely strong, and the surging energy instantly exploded, no longer hidden, and all rushed in without restraint. The cold air forms a hard shell, which gradually softens under the continuous erosion of yang energy and turns into black smoke, drifting out of the flower's body and dissipating in the air. Ah, that's it, help me dispel the negative energy quickly. Huazi couldn't help but moan softly, holding on to the teacher's broad chest with both hands. She lightly bit her lips with her small mouth, and her beautiful eyebrows furrowed slightly, enduring the teacher's scorching energy. The originally emaciated figure now appears even more delicate and fragile. Lin. But. Extinguish. Yang Mingxiang kept his spirits up and didn't let the restless energy affect his mind. With the help of the spirit-driving spell, he slowly removed the negative energy from Huazi's body. Sweat was rising from the forehead, and before it could drip, it was completely evaporated by the heat on the body. Congratulations to the host for successfully supplementing yang qi. Physical fitness value increased by 10, recovery ability increased by 5, flower loyalty has been activated, with a current value of 80. Ghost tree growth progress increased by 0.2%. I don't know how long it took, but the system finally popped up a prompt. Yang Ming was now panting heavily, and there was no trace of yang energy left in her body. All of it flowed into Huazi's body, driving away the negative energy from her completely. His body, which was originally exhausted, gradually burst out with new energy as the system prompted him. He felt that his spirit was much better than before, and he didn't even need to use his soul-destroying left hand. His body alone could block the 2 moves of the demon. Huazi had fallen asleep at this moment, with a smile on her face and a warm yang energy all over her body, without any hint of a fierce ghost. He carefully placed the flowers in the ghost space and placed them on a soft grass next to the ghost tree. The ghost tree emits a sparkling white light, and under the illumination of the light, the flower's spiritual power slowly rises. Take a shower. Yang Ming looked at the mess on his body, with the unique fragrance of flowers floating in his arms. With a contented expression, he flipped out his pajamas in the wardrobe and whistled as he walked into the bathroom to freshen up. I didn't notice a black shadow floating outside the window at all. After Yang Ming walked into the bathroom, the black shadow gulped down a mouthful of saliva before dissipating into the air, leaving only a transparent pool of unknown liquid on the windowsill. Yang Ming was washing his hair while looking at his figure in the mirror. With a height of 1.78 meters and a robust physique, he doesn't have much flesh, but his muscles are exceptionally tight. He has distinct abdominal muscles, a triangular shape, and a sunny and handsome face. If his predecessor hadn't been too obsessed with grudges, he wouldn't have been single to this day. Even Teacher Huazi, who is so afraid of ghosts, did not comb away from him, thanks to his decent appearance and figure. Teacher Huazi, let me guard you. Yang Ming pressed his determination while searching for the resentment event in his memory. After all, in this world where demons and ghosts run rampant, strength is the first element of self-protection. The bound system needs to drive spirits to become stronger, and it also needs to be discovered by oneself to trigger tasks. The system will not actively explore resentful spirits. However, this world is not lacking in vengeful spirits. In the early stages, we only need to avoid a few particularly powerful monsters, focus on eliminating small vengeful spirits, steadily enhance our strength, and protect ourselves from danger. Moreover, I have a ghostly space, and taking away the resentment spirits can also give me their unique abilities. Don't think about getting into the angry insect, it's only suitable to dissipate under my ghost hands. What other famous vengeful spirits are there? Sadako. Seeing the film will lead to death, and her abilities are unknown. It's better not to provoke her for now. Jia Yizi. Controlling curses, physical immunity, and controlling hair is definitely one of the top types, so let's wait until later to deal with it. Little life matters. After finishing washing up, Yang Ming took out a piece of bread from the refrigerator and casually dealt with it, then lay in bed unwilling to move. What are the weaker ones in the early stages? He constantly reminisces about urban legends from his past life memories. Unconsciously, he fell into a deep sleep. This is the second day of crossing over, and the experiences are more exciting than the whole previous life. Chapter 9. Abnormal Spiritual Power, a Talking Beauty Tree. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day sunny weather Yang Ming woke up refreshed and stretched comfortably. He had been helping Huazi replenish yang energy for most of the night and was exhausted. Fortunately, while supplementing yang energy, it can also enhance physical fitness. Otherwise, I will be exhausted. It's simply painful and joyful. Fortunately, the flowers are not heavy either. They are small and light, allowing for easy manipulation of their shapes. Damn it, late again. I'm still not used to a regular life. He quickly rushed into the bathroom, hastily changing clothes while brushing his teeth and rinsing. Holding a piece of bread that had been frozen for an unknown amount of time in his mouth, he ran out like a gust of wind. Yang Ming strode and ran wildly, and the pedestrians on the road felt a hurricane blowing in front of him. Upon regaining consciousness, he had already run over 100 meters away. My physique has been greatly enhanced by the system, and I can run continuously at a speed of 100 meters without feeling tired, and my breathing is stable. Great. Thank you, Huazi. Good morning, Teacher Lutzi. Good morning, Teacher Yamada. Good morning, Principal. Luz saw young Ming and raised his hand just as he wanted to say hello. The next second, he rushed past with a gust of dust and wind, leaving behind a light and floating, "Good morning." The principal said with relief, "Teacher Yang Ming is really full of enthusiasm today. It's just that my behavior is a bit strange, so I silently added a sentence in my heart." Lutzi also rose in her heart that if only he didn't scare me often, she knew she was most afraid of ghosts. Thinking of Yang Ming's handsome face, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but smile. Most of the school teachers are from the Mediterranean, only he is handsome and full of vitality. "Good morning, classmates." Yang Ming pushed open the classroom door and was about to step into the classroom when he saw Mei Shu sitting on the table discussing himself. Teacher Ming has thick lines and is not delicate at all. He thought inviting someone to a cemetery for a date was just romantic, it was hilarious. Which girl dares to go? But our teacher invited her seriously. I see, the two of them have no hope. The classmates were all nodding in agreement with a smile. Yes, their teacher is like this. Yang Ming lifted Mei Shu off the table with a black line. Well, it's heavy and carries a lot of weight. Don't spread rumors, be careful not to make friends in the future. Mei Shu stuck out her little tongue and made a funny face. I'm sorry. I'm just casually saying it, it's all harmless and won't cause anyone any trouble. Yes, it's fun to hear what Mei Shu said Hino Hiroshi. I don't think it's fun. Yang Ming looked helpless and said, don't talk about my sadness everywhere, I am very sad. The villager smiled and said, but Teacher Ming, your embarrassing incident has already spread far and wide. Who wouldn't know that you love resentful spirits more than beautiful women? No, it's impossible. Yang Ming recalled last night's battle situation and confirmed that he loved beautiful women and also hated beautiful spirits. Mei Shu is still babbling on about his embarrassing situation. I actually wanted to say it a long time ago. Teacher Ming went to the park a while ago and accidentally sat on the dog's stool. Also, a few days ago I went shopping and only found out when I returned that my pants zippers were not pulled. Eating fish balls at a street snack stand and bargaining with the boss, I directly asked the boss to give me a 20% discount. The snack stand is really. This child is really active. Does he enjoy watching others' private lives so much? Yang Ming's forehead was bulging with veins, and he said, all right, shut up. Class is coming. The classmates just dispersed and returned to their seats to sit down. I feel that Mei Shu is a bit too active. Yang Ming silently recited the spirit-expelling spell, carefully feeling that Mei Shu had a faint spiritual energy on her body. I really can't notice if I'm not serious. Is it a coincidence? Is it that monster? After a moment of contemplation, he decided to secretly pay attention. Time passes quickly, after class time. The classmates have just finished exercising and are playing around packing up their equipment. They are planning to take it to the equipment room. A black shadow suddenly appeared at the corner of the wall. Everyone, come and listen to me. The villager said in confusion, The voice of the beautiful tree. Is it you? The shadow didn't answer her and spoke on its own. I said, Xiaoguang was in the restroom today and pulled a big pile of feces, blocking the restroom and unable to flush it. Oh. The villager glanced incredulously at Hino Hiroshi beside him. Hino Hiroshi blushed with embarrassment and anger. No, how did she know? Also, HuiqulingBinding Zhang's flute. It's so dirty, actually using its plump lips and saliva-stained tongue to add to someone else's flute. It's so disgusting. The classmates looked at Tai with disdain on their faces. Is it so disgusting and explosive? Proper lewd male behavior. Tai's face turned red and he wished he could find a crack to penetrate. Also, What's even more exciting is that Ma Zi likes Xiaoqing. Whenever he thinks of Xiaoqing, Ma Zi's side becomes slippery. Enough, Mei Shu. You're going too far too far. The villager angrily said, there's no such thing as spreading other people's privacy everywhere. Just tell me quietly. Everyone rushed towards the corner, trying to stop Mei Shu from speaking and continuing. Maybe when it comes to herself, how could she hear so much privacy? Then I turned around and realized that the aisle behind me was empty and there was no one there. Where are people? Chapter 10. Manipulating shadows, monsters and fools appear. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Detected resentment spirit, monster shadow fool, using Yang Qi to remove the negative energy of shadow fool can bring it into the ghost space and gain the ability to manipulate shadows. After successful removal, spiritual power increases by 10, flower favorability decreases by 50, and loyalty decreases by 20, eliminating shadow fool, increasing Yang Qi by 100%, restoring power by 10, physical fitness by 10, and growth of ghost tree by 0.21%. Yang Ming looked at the system prompt and was indeed the kind of monster in his memory. Manipulating shadows, shadow fools can read their own memories by touching the shadows of others, and can also manipulate to some extent, emit their own voice, and spread rumors everywhere. Favorite to be possessed by someone who loves to talk. The person targeted by it is through such means, spreading other people's privacy everywhere, causing oneself to be isolated and cursed by friends, and over time, develop suicidal thoughts. After his death, Shadow Fool took the opportunity to devour the souls of those who died unjustly and strengthen his own strength. Does it have the ability to manipulate shadows? It looks good and can also read other people's memories. But I still choose Huazi. Just kidding, if loyalty and favorability decrease so much, Huazi will directly backfire, okay. And how could precious yang energy be wasted on such monsters? The shadow fool in my impression is an indescribable thing. The question is, where is it now? Yang Ming felt the residual spiritual power on Mei Shu, but it was clearly not on her. Let's find Mei Shu first and then talk. He circled around the school only to find Mei Shu blocked in the corner of the playground by his classmates. Mei Shu, you're going too far. You're so cunning. What a despicable person. Talking about others' privacy everywhere is the lowest level person. Go to hell, ugly bastard. The classmates are all condemning Mei Shu, and their speech is getting more and more excited. Mei Shu curled up on the side with tearful eyes, still trying to defend herself. No, it wasn't me. I didn't say anything, someone must have spread rumors by pretending to be me. It's clearly your voice, I really misread you. I thought you were an interesting person, said Hino Hiroshi angrily. The villager also said, I didn't expect her to be such a despicable person. Apologize quickly. As the situation was about to spiral out of control, Yang Ming quickly stepped forward. What are you doing? Don't bully your classmates. Mei Shu's eyes lit up as she saw him, revealing the radiance of finally being saved. Teacher Ming. She squeezed through the crowd and threw Wei Chu Baba into Yang Ming's arms. He was pushed back a few steps with great force, but fortunately there were two huge cushion airbags in front, which prevented him from getting injured internally. Teacher, help me speak up, I am innocent. Mei Shu. Yang Ming looked at the heavy and beautiful tree in his arms, with a pitiful expression on his face, suppressing the yang energy that was about to explode. Where's that ugly? Who was talking nonsense just now? That's just a rumor, okay. Thinking of her choreographing her own scene this morning, she couldn't help but jokingly say, now you know. Talking about others everywhere, you think it's fun, but it can be very harmful to them. But I don't have it. Wow. Mei Shu saw that her beloved teacher didn't even help her, so she burst into tears and ran out while wiping away her tears. Everyone felt embarrassed to say anything more when they saw her like this, but they made up their minds that Mei Shu would not forgive her without apologizing. Yang Ming inwardly apologized. He had to lure out the shadow fool first before continuing to stimulate Mei Shu. He quietly followed behind the beautiful tree to prevent accidents for the lovely students. Mei Shu sat in a corner of a remote park, still crying sadly. Why don't people believe me when I didn't say anything? Usually, I just love to talk and never spread information about others' privacy. It's really excessive. If this continues, I won't have any friends. It's better to die than to do this. Her shadow cast on the side, the originally faint gray gradually becoming as thick and dark as ink, as if something evil was constantly rolling inside. There seems to be someone whispering in the shadow, constantly saying, "Yes, you're not wrong. Just listen to my instructions, they are all wronging you. People in this world don't understand you, it's better to just die." Mei Shu's big eyes gradually lost their radiance, her pupils slowly dilated without focal length, and she muttered to herself, "Yes, let's just die." Her shadow churned like boiling water in an instant, and a circular monster slowly emerged. That monster has a pale skin, densely covered with eyes, no nose or ears, and a large mouth in the middle. Its 5 thick and long tongues hang directly outside its mouth. Sticky saliva kept dripping onto the ground, and it was a monster-like shadow fool who loved to manipulate other people's shadows and spread rumors everywhere. "Yes, go to hell and let me swallow it. Stop it." When Yang Ming arrived, he saw the shadow fool appearing in its original form and was about to devour the beautiful tree. Soul-destroying left hand. Endless evil energy instantly converges on the left hand, concretizing into a ferocious ghost claw.